What's up, guys? It's Akil here. About to do a little breakdown. You already know how it's gonna go. I got the whiteboard out. Oh man, you already know. Oh man, with the whiteboard? What? Visual? Audible? Education? What? Oh man, mind blowing. Nah, but real quick, I just wanted to break down elements of progress just on a fundamental level, because simple things get overlooked. So I'm just tackling that in my own way. So simply put, mostly in our society, in the way that we are influenced to approach things comes from the influence of attaining something, right? So how big does that plus need to be? Well, that's a plus sign, okay? All right, just take into account that's a plus, okay? So most people, they want things, they have desires, and their approach to getting their desires is to add, push, implement, right? They want to interject something, make an addition to, in the name of attaining, right? So now you're attaining. All right, so that's the plus. For mathematical purposes, if we're going to do the opposite of addition in a functional process, what we would do is we would subtract the minus. So subtracting the minus is where a lot of wisdom gets lost as far as people's approaches to attaining things, right? Because what you don't want is the attainment. That's not the desire. Yeah, it's getting kind of hard to see. So what you don't want is the attainment. What you want is the attainment with a mixtured balance of the maintain, right? So when you aim to add something, you're doing it with the intention of attaining something. But for all intensive purposes, if you're not balancing out that with subtracting things that don't benefit, which is maintaining, then what you'll find is that you lack sustainability, which is a big issue as far as a lot of the things that are coming up as far as today is concerned. So when you have a society that's mainly focused on attaining without setting proper attention and, emphasis, value, integration of maintenance, what you'll find is that you have a very consumer-like based environment. It's greed at the top, and the greed at the top influences greed at the bottom by way of making things easier to attain and easier to promote, easier to mass produce, and distribute all of that in the aim of attaining, right? But what we're suffering from now is a massive breakdown in sustainability. So all of our training is based in consumerism, attainment mindset. Where does the maintaining come in? And why does the maintaining matter? And what's the applicability of it all? Well, when you take the function of realizing that the plus is attaining and subtracting a minus is maintaining, what you have is a formula that plugs into universally everything. For what purpose? Sustainability. And sustainability is subjective to that which you desire to sustain. So really what you have is a crunch sequence. What do you want to put in between the function of attaining and maintaining? That's the why. The why gives you the ability to make the how efficient. And the question that comes up by default when I break things down in this manner is, okay, how do I attain? How do I maintain? But all of that falls in the umbrella of what you're putting in between the two, which would be, why are you attaining in the first place? And why are you removing things for the sake of maintaining? What is that needs to be maintained? So let's say you want to get to a position to where you can put the formula to use, right? But you realize that you're struggling with attaining, which is something that people get discouraged by. They get discouraged by attaining things, right? So now that you know that that's not the only portion that matters, what you could do is say, okay, as opposed to me being cynical and, very downtrodden in my mentality as far as how the world is because I'm having trouble attaining things, let me give myself the chance to prove reality right by actually implementing balance, because attaining, as far as sustainability is concerned, is not a balanced approach to approaching. An approach to approaching needs an approach that's efficient, and it needs to be, accessible on a certain universal level. And it's coming out to play that simply attaining is not a universally beneficial thing. It needs to be combined with the removal of something that is not beneficial. And that can come into many varying degrees. That's not an absolute. And I'm going to break down black, white, and shades of gray. So just for clarity, I'm not saying that when you remove a thing or when you add a thing, that you have to add or remove that thing in its entirety. So let's say you want to sustain your ability to be disciplined, because you realize that without discipline, you won't be able to put the formula to use that'll give you the power over your life that you desire. So you see this formula, you say, man, Akil's making a lot of sense. The why that I want to put in between this formula is discipline. Because if I'm disciplined, then I can make use of attaining and maintaining so that I can sustain a thing. and keep it going in a way that's beneficial in the long run over the span of time. So now you're approaching attaining, however, whatever adds to the aim of being disciplined. Well, what could you implement to be more disciplined? Use your imagination, and if you don't come up with anything, search, ask a question. And that's the power of having something in between these two, right? Because if you have something in between these two, these two are at play either way. They're always at play. But based on the way that you approach the fact that they're always at play determines whether you actually get something out of it that contributes to your sustainability as a being. You want to be sustained as a being, which means you have to get something out of the mixture that comes in between attaining and maintaining the thing. So you want to be disciplined. You add 5, you probably can't see it. I'm going to put the number. So you have 5, and you add 5 additional ways to be disciplined. And whatever those ways are, they actually add to how you're going to be disciplined. And as far as maintaining is concerned, you realize that, you might have a negative of like 7. So you add 5, but because of your habits, you're always 7 paces back, which means, hey, you're going to need to, take that 7 and then what's 7 and 5? 12? Hey man, take that 7, lessen the 7 by subtracting from the 7. So take away from the fact that the 7 is 7. So as opposed to it being +5 -7, which puts you at -2, you can bring down the -7. So as opposed to it being a -7, it becomes a -2. At least that way, you'd be 3 paces more closer to being disciplined. That's actual progress. And that progress is heightened by having something in between the formula of attaining and maintaining. Attaining and maintaining, they're hows. What goes in between is the why. And the why sustains